Well, once again, we've been told of how bad our municipalities are. I'm sure you've felt the problems with water supplies, electricity services that don't work. Today, we saw more numbers showing exactly how bad it is. The Auditor-General says there was material non-compliance at around 86% of municipalities. I mean, that's almost all of them. There was irregular expenditure of 26 billion rand. The Auditor-General describes the situation in North West Province like this. There is a total neglect of internal control disciplines in the province. This is a quote, which has caused financial and operational collapse, end quote. The Free State, the quote, having a perpetual disrespect for regulations. Those aren't my words. That's from the Office of the Auditor-General. Heese is an economist at Municipal IQ. Karen, good afternoon to you. I mean, none of this comes as a surprise to you. We've known for years and years about the problems in our councils. To look at this report, councils have gone backwards.
Good afternoon, Stephen, and to your viewers. Well, yes, that's true, and I think it's very disheartening for the Auditor-General. What they note is the number of clean audits has actually gone down since the beginning of the political term in 2016. In mitigation, of course, the financial year that ends the report was June last year. So the finalisation was really in the midst of hard lockdown, the last one, and this really disrupted reporting. On the other hand, and what the Auditor-General goes to lengths to explain, the audit process is a process, something that should have been taking place over the course of the year, and a few months towards the end of the year shouldn't have led to a sort of shambolic lack of completion of processes and financial statements as it did.
There seem to be huge differences by province, and I mean, I've picked two of them, North West and Free State. Why are the provinces so different to each other? What does that tell us even?
It tells us a huge amount. It's very significant because there are a number of two key issues that come out. So the first is political commitment. And we can see some of the relatively poorer provinces like Limpopo or KwaZulu-Natal showing political commitment at a provincial level and a political level to ensure improved compliance with audit outcomes. And we see the results. The second one, which is a little bit more complicated, is technical support. And the Auditor-General finds that this is better in the Western Cape and Gauteng. Obviously, there are more resources at hand. But it shows the seriousness with which politicians and then provincial government and officers of cooperative governance will take in ensuring that municipalities comply with audit requirements and supporting them where they're not managing to do so.
We know, I mean, and we can see it, infrastructure literally falling apart. It's not properly maintained. If you look at the numbers, and you've been looking at the numbers, something like 2% of a council's budget goes on maintenance. I mean, if that's right, it's no wonder things are falling apart.
Absolutely. It's really not the director main of the Auditor-General to look at financial performance, but it's become a key element of the audit report in that it really compromises the municipality's functionality. And she picks up, and the National Treasury's data reiterates the fact that we should see around 7%. And yeah, 3%, 2%, even below is likely what we see in repairs and maintenance expenditure in most municipalities. The reason why is up until now it's been hidden. So if one didn't spend adequately on surfaces of roads or on electricity grids, for a few years you could get away with it. The problem is when it's been left for an extended period of time, as it has, then it becomes a massive liability, which is what we're facing in most municipalities.
And it also gets more and more expensive to fix. It's much harder to build a road after 20 years than to maintain it.
Absolutely. And, back to the Auditor-General report, she finds in financial governance terms very much the same thing. She recommends preventative measures to ensure that audit irregularities are picked up and addressed during the process. It's much more expensive to go back and trace what happened with an irregular contract to try and retrieve some of the funding. It's always better to do things preventatively and proactively than retrospectively.
There's a really interesting story around Ekurhuleni. Now, let me just confess, I do follow its mayor on Twitter. I'm glad to be entertained when I do. But this is a metro that seems to have its finances well in order.
Absolutely. We've seen Ekurhuleni strengthen significantly over the last political term. It has been an advantage to its other Gauteng metro peers in that it's had a stable coalition. It's a very small coalition. The ANC just lost very short of the 50% mark. So it has had greater political stability, which is key to success in delivery. But part of that success has also been the fact that there there has been a strong capacity built, including, as highlighted in the report by the AG, including in the audit process. And that capacity and that commitment that we see to the audit process has meant that it's the only metro which managed to get a clean audit in the last financial year under review.
Karen Heese, thank you very much indeed. Really do appreciate the time. So many different things to talk about now.